Welcome to another episode of the Money Wheel Podcast. The journey to wealth starts here with your host, Don Shade.
Hello, my friend and future millionaire. Welcome to this episode of the Money Wheel. My name is Don Shade. Let's take a minute today and figure out, why is it that you're listening or watching this video or podcast? What is it you're trying to accomplish? Are you actually trying to get rich? Are you trying to build your life into the lifestyle of your dreams? Have you ever stopped to think, what's going to happen if I continue down the same path that I'm going for the next 5 years, the next 10 years? You want to see what your life is going to look like on your current path? Look at somebody that's been on your job 10 years longer than you, and that'll tell you exactly where you're going to be. There are some people that are extremely good with their money, and they invest big money into their 401k, and they're able to retire early, and they'll have over $1 million in their 401k, and they'll live comfortable. You know if you're one of those people. Or are you just putting the bare minimum in? And to be honest, your retirement's running a little behind. You're not exactly where you want to be financially. The first thing we want to do is figure out, where is it that you want to be exactly? Everybody talks about, I want to be a millionaire. And I'll be honest with you, you'll be comfortable long before you become a millionaire. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. But the main thing I want you to look at, I want you to be honest with yourself and ask yourself this question. Is my way really working to achieve the goals that I want to achieve? In other words, the path that I'm walking down, the job that I'm doing Monday to Friday, is it going to get me where I want to be financially? And it's okay to be able to say, no, this path isn't working. So let's make some changes. As you listen to this podcast or watch this video, whatever the situation is, it's time to be honest with yourself and say, where do I want to be a year from now? Where do I want to be 3 years from now? What's going to happen 5 years from now? Am I going to look back and say, man, I wish I would have built it back on day one. Here we are. I kept procrastinating and I never really did anything. And now I've worked at this job 5 years and the stress is getting to me. I don't like it. How many times in your life can you look back and honestly say to yourself, you made a decision about your life because of circumstances that you really had no control over? Here's a prime example. Would you be where you are today, meaning at work or driving to work, if money wasn't an issue in your life? If you figured out a different way to bring in the same income you're making from sitting in your house, sitting in front of your computer, would you be doing that? Or would you still be going to work where you're going to work at? Most people don't plan to fail. But what happens is they fail to plan. You don't want to be in that boat. Today is the day we stop and make the decision, where do I want to be? And it's time to create the plan. It's time to be honest with yourself and say, you know what? My way really isn't working. Yeah, I have a nice house. I have a nice vehicle. I live a decent life. But it isn't the life of my dreams. Ask yourself this question. What is the life of my dreams? What does it look like? What is my first day of financial freedom going to look like? Am I going to be 65 or 70 and retired? Or am I going to be 35 or 40? Or maybe even younger? And be able to walk away because of a business that I built outside of my normal job. This is just something I want you to think about. That's everything I have for today's episode of The Money Wheel.
Thank you for listening to the Money Wheel Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and like the podcast. For everything that was talked about in today's amazing show, go to moneywheelpodcast.com and get today's show notes, past episodes, and most importantly, you can connect with Don Shade on all his social media platforms. Again, at moneywheelpodcast.com. If you are just looking to email Don, you can email him at don@moneywheelpodcast.com. For a list of all our tools we use in our business, you can go to moneywheelpodcast.com/resources. Again, thank you for listening to today's podcast, and see you in our next episode of the Money Wheel Podcast.